food groups. Anyway, I'm not funny, so I don't have material. So Kim wants me to make a joke. I don't got one. So I said, Kim, I'm just kind of a boring pile of receipts and foreign coins and regret and ancient itineraries. You lead this parade of mirth. And I think that's what he wanted. I think this was the getting to know you, welcome to North Korea joke that he probably unleashes upon every client. And he was ready. He's like, okay, setting it up for me. There is a river, and a boy falls in and begins to drown. Like, this sucks. I mean, can you see it? A kid falling, heartbreaking, right? I'm like, yeah, and no one will save him. Like, it's getting worse. I'm like, oh, God damn. And he said, and then an old man jumps into the river and saves the boy. Well, that's a relief, but it's not funny yet. It's just like, okay, no death, but no laughs. And he says, and then all the people gather around the old man and say, you are very good. You saved the young boy. What do you think the old man said? I'm like, lead on. He said, hey, who kicked me in the backside? I know you're out there, I can hear you breathing. Is this thing on? I mean, there is that gulch of silence, because it's not that funny. And he didn't really pitch it all that well. And so an agonizing 3 seconds of silence goes by with me just kind of like, huh. And I realize I got to deal with this guy all week, so it's probably incumbent upon me to really enjoy the joke. When you play catch-up enjoyment to a joke, it does not sell. So when your reaction is, no, he did not believe me, but he was polite and kind of went, And that was basically the beginning of lots of bad food and incredible information. I learned things about North Korea that none of you know. And I don't know how much you care about North Korean fun facts, but I'm glad you're sitting comfortably because you're going to get a few now. Kim Il-sung, the great leader, invented dirt, agriculture, corn, potatoes, the solar system, and get this, water. Oh yeah. And you hear this stuff, you're like, what are you gonna do, argue? I mean, just let's let it happen. And we go from endless statues of Kim Il-sung, the great leader. We have to buy flowers, go up to this massive bronze chunk of statue, very beautiful, of Kim Il-sung doing something majestic like, here it is, you're starving to death, but if only you could eat, if only I was made of chocolate and you could eat me. And you bow and put the flowers down, and it said in my itinerary, get ready to do a lot of bowing and don't think you're going to get out of it. And I have no problem with bowing in front of something. If it's the custom, I'm not going to buck the system. And so I bow with Kim. I go as deep as Kim does. I hold it and come up, and every single time I bowed, Kim would say, thank you. Very, very polite guy, ridiculously polite. And so we get a few days into incredibly and consistently awful food and relentless propaganda. And he said, okay, tomorrow morning in the lobby, 8:30 with your suit. And my travel itinerary said, buy a suit and bring it because you need it to put on to visit the dead body of Kim Il-sung in the Kim Il-sung Mausoleum. They have the great leader in a vacuum-sealed glass box so you can look at him. It's like a bunch of 13-year-olds got in charge of things. Oh, we got a dead guy, let's preserve him and keep looking at him. Ooh, weird, morbid, but I'm going. And so, some of you men, you're fairly ugly, but you know, charismatic. You look good in a suit. Like if you shave your face and kind of sober up and put on a collar and a tie, you clean up well, as they say. Some of you don't. I fall in that group. When you put a suit on me, it looks like stolen merchandise. I look like the dog at the party with the sunglasses and the hat on that someone blew pot smoke in its face, and it retreats to its water bowl and just kind of waits for it to be over. It's like that dog looks like a schmuck. It's like, yeah, I'm wearing this idiot's hat. I mean, thanks. That's how I look in a suit. Like I just tried to ask the girl to dance and my voice broke. And I'm like, get it off me. And so I'm standing in my stupid suit with this, and I made the necktie knot really big and pulled it down halfway like I'm, you know, Dean Martin after 2 sets at the Sands. And Kim comes walking in dressed to the nines, because you have to be dressed up real good to see the dead guy. And his micro tie knot is strangling him. Spy chick comes in, she's a gorgeous woman. She is dressed like boom, bam, like the dead guy is gonna get a load of this. And all the other tourists are standing, and we're all sweating in our clothes. It's like 95 degrees in the hotel lobby. They clamber aboard their bus. I get into the car with Spy Chick, Kim, and the driver. We all go to the Kim Il-sung Mausoleum, a building the size of the American Midwest. It's impossibly huge. You know, it's the biggest mausoleum in the world. And you walk in and you go through, you know, metal detectors and really vigorous pat downs. They're gonna find something on you, determined. And they really are into it. Like, you know, they don't like you and they're going over your person. And finally you're done with all of that. And in front of me I see the longest moving sidewalk I have ever seen in my life. And some of you know that when I'm at an airport and I see people standing on a moving sidewalk, it infuriates me. Because engineers have toiled endlessly to give you this beautiful invention where you can go at your normal ambulatory pace yet pick up speed without burning any more caloric energy. It's a marvelous innovation. You can walk at 5 times the speed, get to your destination 4 minutes quicker, and breathe foul air just a little bit longer. Anyone standing, I want to help by putting my foot up their ass crack, because life is very short, and if you're happy to be like moss, like here's my imitation of lichen, like, and anyone can tend to go through life for like 7 minutes. They need my help. And I try and get the entire belt bouncing by just boom, boom, like a red kangaroo bounding across Australia. And I see untrammeled moving sidewalk, no people on it, and it goes until my eyes run out. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be amazing. I'm gonna catch so much air. So I start limbering up. And Kim's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, I am gonna motor. He said, you can't move on the moving sidewalk. That's like no fighting in the war room. Are you kidding? I said, well, I can't, like, walk? And he said, no movement. And there's all these soldiers like, don't move. And I stood there, I timed it with this watch. I think I stood on that thing bolt still for about 9.5 minutes. And for me, that was about an eternity. That was, I'm like a shook up can of Coke with the tab unpopped. I'm like always standing still on a moving sidewalk is everything that is wrong. Minute after I start sweating through the suit, I was infuriated at this waste of time. Anyway, we get to the end. I'm like, are you kidding? And so we go through another tunnel where you're attacked by gusts of air to knock the dandruff and detritus off your miserable carcass, and the bottom of your feet are scrubbed by rotating brushes. And then you go into a room that holds the dead guy. And it's this beautiful marble room with men at attention. You can hear hair opting out of growing. It's so quiet. It is so damn serious, because they are basically in a room with God. And you walk in and Kim goes, when I bow, you bow. You got it, big guy. And you make a circle around the body of Kim Il-sung. It's like this waxy dead dude with a blanket over half his body. Could be a dead guy, could be a wax statue. It really doesn't matter. It's ridiculous looking. This is like burn it, bury it. I mean, really? Anyway, Kim, Spy Chick, they're so damn serious. And I'm like, okay, I'm being polite. I'm in a foreign land. I'm not gonna like, what's that all about? You know, I'm like, and so we all bow. And he goes, thank you, no problem. And we round second base, we bow at the feet, and right at that moment, in my jet-lagged mind, I came up with something I thought was extremely funny. And I wanted to relate it to Kim, because I owed him a joke, right? But I didn't think the material was right for not only that room, I don't think it was right for North Korea. So I had to suppress it. There's a lot of suppression there. And so I had to suppress it, and it lodged in my sinus cavity like a cayenne pepper sneeze. So I'm like, what's the matter? I'm like, so I wanted to grab Kim by his shoulders and say, Kim, he winked at me. That's so not going to be seen as you. Like, you are going to prison for a long time, and Clinton's not going to come for me. And so I had to hold on, and I had to hold on to it. So we leave the Kim Il-sung Mausoleum, and we leave the building back into the heat. And we look down the hill at the Kim Il-sung Square. It's this square. It is unfathomably huge. And Kim says, this is Kim Il-sung Square, the biggest square in the world. And I was so mad about this moving sidewalk stunt and so frustrated by not being able to pitch my meager joke, I decided to have some gentle fun with tour guide Kim. I said, this is the biggest square in the world, huh? Yes. It's bigger than Tiananmen Square? Oh, much bigger. And gives me the exact measurements, how much bigger it is than Tiananmen Square. I said, when was the last time you went to Tiananmen Square? Oh, I've never been. Really? Couldn't get a babysitter? Couldn't get one of those deal weekend flights, 2 nights in Beijing, fun, frolicsome behavior, and a big walk around Tiananmen Square and then back to Pyongyang? Couldn't get that together? No. I said, well, Kim, you know what? I've been to Tiananmen Square, I've walked along it quite a bit, which actually I have in cold and hot weather. And I said, Kim, I hate to break it to you, big guy, but you know what? You could lose Kim Il-sung Square inside Tiananmen Square. It's impossibly huger than Kim Il-sung Square. The opposite is true. Kim Il-sung Square is ridiculously big. Tiananmen Square is huge, but it's not as big as, like, not even close. And Kim's very patient. No, it says here on the pamphlet that ours is bigger. I said, well, look, I'm not going to argue with you. Like, if you want to say it's bigger, you'll go ahead. But look, I just want to say that I like Kim Il-sung Square better because it's smaller and I can it's cuter to me. It's more approachable, making it more adorable, actually. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to get the measurements. Can I call it darling? I think it's a darling square you have. I'd like to get the measurements because I want to recreate it down to exact scale size in my backyard just for the memory. Because I've got a bit of land. And he got semi-frustrated / furious, like, no, ours is bigger. And I said, Tiananmen Square is bigger. And he actually, no. And he actually stalked away from me and walked to the car. And that was one of the only moments I was semi-alone in North Korea outside of the hotel. I had to run out, Kim, come back, I was just kidding. And so days go by and finally my brief visit is over. And my travel itinerary said, tip generously in euros. Euros they can use, and they can use as many euros as you can bring. I said, no problem. And so I give the driver guy a wedge of euros. He's very thankful. I give a wedge of euros to a spy chick. Her whole disposition brightens up, huge smile. Her English is amazing. Wow, thanks, this rocks. Right. And then I give some money to Kim, and I shake all of their hands, like Spy Chick shook my hand, and they're all very friendly. I said, hey, look, I'd like to thank you for all the wonderful memories and all the great information, the corn, the potatoes, and solar system, all that stuff. And I had a great time. And so, well, for you. And I'm gathering my backpack, and I'm about to walk in to check in, and Kim hugs me. He goes, you and me, we are friends. I said, sure, of course we're friends, Kim. And I will come to visit you. I'm like, oh, no you won't. And it won't be because I'm trying to avoid him. I just don't think he's ever going to get out of North Korea. And I said, sure, Kim, look, when you get to LA, find me on my website, and call me on my phone, and I'll come and pick you up at your hotel, and I'll take you out for the best burrito you've ever had. This is never going to happen. But oh, if it did. Imagine me enduring the shrieks and screams of the demon in my office as I'm pecking away at one of those journal books of mine, which the demon is already subtitled, More of Same Volume 10! Anyway, incoming email from Kim. Dude, I'm at the Standard Hotel on Sunset Strip, let's hook up! That would be so great to pick up Kim. Go, no way! I don't think it's ever going to happen. And I've got not one damn problem with anyone in North Korea except those who are oppressing all the other people in North Korea. The people I saw, they're just folks just trying to get through like anywhere in any other country. And whenever we blame the many by the actions of the few or judge them by those actions, I think we lose the plot. Anyway, it was an odd week that I can't say I truly enjoyed, but I learned a thing or five. And so I went from there back to China up to Mongolia.